What is up, everybody? This is Josh with WA Production, back with another live stream track feedback session. This is Saturday, November 7th, where I am, at least here in the United States. It's quite a historic day. No matter what your beliefs are or anything like that, it's a pretty crazy day today. So anyway, glad to be here through it all. We do this pretty much every week, no matter what's going on in the world. So glad to be doing this. As always, I'm going to go over the rules real quick. The link to submit your tracks should be above my head and probably in the post you're watching. So basically, that's the only place you can submit tracks on our Discord server. It needs to be done in the live stream feedback channel on Discord, which is not open yet. That's on purpose. If you snuck in a post early, I had to delete it, sorry, so you'll have to post it again. But anyway, so that's the place you got to do it. We prefer SoundCloud links. Those are the easiest. We'll take a Dropbox link too, but no videos, no YouTube. That just makes things complicated. Please only submit once. If you submit more than once, I will skip your track because it's an unfair advantage. I do go in a random order. So for those of you who haven't been here in the past, just know that if it looks like I skipped you, that doesn't mean I actually skipped you. I very possibly could come back to your track, but I go in a random order so that we don't get the same people every time, and I try to get to as many people as possible. I'll be going for about an hour, try and do my best to get to as many as I can. If I don't get to you, I apologize, and I'll try to do better the following week. So today, I don't have a trivia question for you. Instead, I have a different kind of question. So we're trying to do our best to improve on these streams and in all of everything we do. And so I've been trying to get some feedback. We ran some questions this week on our Instagram just to see kind of where our customers and fans want us to take this. I really enjoyed doing these. And we're not going to stop doing track feedback or anything like that, but I'd like to know, like, is that what you guys really want? Is that the most valuable to you guys? You know, are there other things we could be doing or other ways we could be doing it that would be helpful? So my question this week, and for the first 10 who answer it, I will guarantee a listen like I do with trivia questions. But you know, I really would appreciate all of you answering this. It's a really easy one, really quickly in your submission, so just include it in the comment. Um, would you guys prefer track feedback sessions like this, or would you prefer to watch like a live production session where I go through like a different topic each week and you guys can answer me or ask me questions and go through stuff like that? Like I said, we're not planning on replacing track feedback, but we might mix some other things in. So I guess, the easiest way to respond to that question is just put track feedback or put, production session or live session or something like that, just so I can have a good idea. We already asked this question on Instagram, but I'd like to get the response from those of you who are attending today. So if all of you can answer that, that would be great. Anyway, so without further ado, I will open up in a second the ability to submit for all of you. 1 second. So now you should be able to go. And I appreciate you guys submitting your answers. That would be really awesome. I appreciate it. Okay, let's get started. Hold on, it's not letting me drag this. Okay. So we're starting with Portofel Time. But I found my way home. Sometimes it gets harder to see the lighthouse in the distance, but I held my head up high through all the empty nights, raised a hand to the sky, and now I'm free. The lights dim way down low, falling for your eyes again. I got back up from being alone, and I learned to fly again. It ain't the first time, and it won't be the last time. I find the strength in me, I find the strength to believe. All right. So yeah, great start to the day. So I like the concept. I think it's got a lot of great elements and definitely has good energy. I would say so. The first couple things I would say is I think the vocal is okay. I don't think it sounds that special. I think that could also be improved, not necessarily by redoing it or anything, but by processing. It sounds a little thin and just not like front and center. I feel like I could, it maybe should have a little bit more crispness and really be more a focus in the track. Um, Additionally, the drop is a little cluttered. And I don't know exactly what's causing that, but it's overall good. Like it's just there's too much happening. I think you need to. I think maybe one of your general struggles with production is deciding what to focus on and what to get like to make in the background or take out completely. And that can be tough because you, as a producer, hopefully you like every element of what you're putting in. So sometimes it can be difficult to sacrifice one for the benefit of the other. But unfortunately, those are the decisions you have to make in production. And in mixing. So, go back to your drop and start by what I would do is start by muting everything and then slowly bring in uh, the most important pieces that you think are the most important parts of the track one by one and start with the most important to the least important. And, make sure as you're doing this that it's mixed properly. So like when you bring in the second element, make sure it's not louder or more prominent than the first, because that's the whole point. You brought in the first element because it's the most important. So do that, and then that'll make it easier to kind of, okay, I'm now at the sixth or seventh. Why is this one so loud? Why is this so prominent when the first, second, third, fourth should be more prominent than it? So what I would do is I think your lead needs to be more of a focus, and you need to tune down some of those other elements that are just kind of taking up space. I think you did a good job of filling it. Like it sounds like a full sound, but there's just a lot of stuff. And so, I mean, I think just getting the mix right and deciding on those elements will make a huge difference. I think there's some parts where you maybe overdid the side chain a little bit. It kind of just sounds a little corny with the dips when there's no kick or something. But overall, I think it's really solid, and I think it just needs that extra fine tuning to get to the next level. So nice job. All right, let's check out this next one. Okay, we've got. Sorry, this is not letting me drag today. Piranha breaks. All right, I love that. That was awesome. Super unique. I don't know what genre to classify that as. Maybe you guys can help me. I guess bounce, is that a genre now? Um, anyway, it doesn't matter to me. That was dope. Um, I don't have too much constructive or negative criticism to say. I think one thing I would try and fine tune is your reverb. I think you do a really cool job of like kind of having it come in during the breaks and then removing it in the drop, which I think is cool. I think I like the way that you did it. I mean, maybe not totally removing it, but like, having that difference. Very cool. The issue I see is that I think the reverb just isn't that realistic. It kind of sounds like a plate reverb or something that's just a little too airy, and it kind of sounds like it's not in the right room for this. Like this almost, I feel like this sounds like it should be in like a dungeon, so maybe a reverb that doesn't have as much high end. And just, I don't know, it just kind of sounded like a bit of a fake reverb, and I don't know what reverb effect you used or whatever, but maybe try and mess with that and get it to, I don't know, it's all about your ears. I mean, maybe it sounds perfect to you and that's fine, but to me, I think I would improve on that. I do like the idea though of slowly bringing that reverb in and then cutting it out. I think that's really cool. But I kind of want it to sound like it's falling into a dungeon, not going into an arena. I don't know. It's just a little bit different. Other than that, not too much to say. I mean, I think there's some things you can maybe, fine tune a little bit of the different elements and stuff. But I think overall the mix sounds really good. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to say. I would probably throw a vocal on it. I think without it, or without something, a chop or something to lead the way a little bit more, I think it does maybe get a little repetitive if you were planning on leaving it like this. But I do think it needs like that one extra element, or if you're not going to do a vocal, some more ear candy, like some synth shots somewhere that lead the way or something. But overall, really, really good. So nice job. Okay. We've got, if it freaking works this time there, gosh, it's not loving me today. All right. RMZ, the night it's going to be. All right, very cool. I really like the production quality there. I think that the song is engaging and definitely keeps you vibing throughout. I think it's the perfect length. I think it's really good. Um, so for the master, I think you need a little work there because I kept having to turn up and down the volume, and that is a sign that it's not limited and mastered properly. If you notice, I mean, visually, it's so much quieter, like right here, than it is like here. I mean, here it's crushing the edge of the space. When it goes from the build to the drop here, I had to turn down the volume because it just was so much louder in the drop. And yeah, you want the drop to feel louder, but it's kind of a trick. It's not actually the actual peak level is often not that much louder in the drop. It's just that it feels louder because there's more elements going on. And so I would, I'm not saying to crush the limiter more because that doesn't always solve the problem. That just makes your sound more compressed. I would take a look at maybe increasing volumes of some of these elements, or of everything that's in the verse sections or the breakdowns and the builds, so that it doesn't, I maybe wouldn't compress it more. I'd want to see the actual file. It's hard to kind of see on SoundCloud, but of how it's hitting. And really hear that before I make any real suggestions. But I would mess with that to try and get it more even throughout the song. I think that it was going up and down a little too much. For the overall song, I think that I like the lead. I like the drops. I think it was cool. I do feel that the lead was a little too straight and predictable. I don't know. I feel like a little bit more syncopation. I think everything's playing at the exact same velocity and playing on the exact right on the grid, which is okay. Like the grid's okay in these 4 on the floor songs, but definitely play with having different velocities on some of those notes so that it kind of, I know this is not a real instrument. Obviously, it's a synth, but it can be helpful to emulate real instruments sometimes and give it a little bit more groove than just bum 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 bum. Like if you kind of have some notes play a little quieter than others, so that it just gives it a little bit more bounce and rhythm. And then the last thing I was going to say too is that I often see with producers, and it's something that's common, a small but important thing is that I think you're a lot of the time afraid to let your drum fills be loud. And I think partially because, for the rest of the song, you've got multiple elements playing at once. But, in especially this song, you have drum fills where the drum is the only thing that's playing, but it's quiet. Like you want that to be as loud as your kick and be like front and center because that's the only thing that's playing during that part. So like you want that to hit you hard. And so I felt that your drum fills were too quiet. And so I would definitely up those and don't be afraid to let those be the loudest, a good part of the song in those pieces. But anyway, really good though. I think, you're 90% of the way there. I would, make those few changes and listen to some of your favorite tracks in this genre and kind of see what they do in their drum fills, in their leveling, and see how the loudness is from the build and the verse into the drop and see how that compares, and look at your tracks side by side. I mean, you can look visually even and or use, some metering tools. But anyway, talked enough on this. I think you did a good job though. Nice job. Okay, next one is gonna be LEO and ID.
I get this feeling when I'm with you. You know how to do it just right. I get this feeling when I'm with you. I hear the bass and I know I'm alive. Spinning round like a record player. Lost in the lights, but I feel no danger. The night mine, the time's right. So just play me like your favorite song. I'll play it all night long.
Cool. I really dig that one. It's got a really nice vibe. I was bobbing my head along with it. I think it's really good. I mean, the production quality is great. I do have a few suggestions. And maybe, if we do decide to do some live sessions of me producing or showing some techniques, I'll do a vocal production session. The vocal is good. The voice, the singing is good, but the processing is not done properly. Your vocal, it is super dynamic, which you always want to retain some dynamics, but not like this. In this track, parts of the vocal are so much louder than other parts, and that's why, one reason why you kind of can't hear the vocal in certain parts. The vocal, when you have vocals on a track, it is your most important thing. You cannot allow your vocal to sit behind anything ever. So every decision you make in mixing needs to be centered around the vocal. Your leads can't outshine the vocal. Like if you've got a lead and a vocal playing at the same time, you need to dip out your lead to make space for the vocal. And so in this song, your vocal does not have that shine necessary to have it be in the front. It's kind of dampened. It sounds like, it just doesn't sound processed. It sounds like someone just sang and then you just threw it on the track. You didn't really do anything to it. So it needs to be way more compressed. Potentially, if there's too much dynamics, if there's like a crazy amount of dynamics, you might have to manually draw in automation on the volume, on the gain. But generally compression can do that enough if you're doing it right, unless you have like a singer who's like whispering versus a singer who's yelling. So that's one part. As far as the general processing of the vocal in EDM, like this kind of genre, that vocal needs to be front, it needs to be crisp, it needs to have a lot of high end, it needs to be wide, and it's none of those things right now. And so I think your number one thing you need to focus on is processing that vocal properly. One other big element, I can tell you right now, there has never been a single song that you've heard on the radio or that has been a hit EDM song or anything that has not had significant vocal tuning done to it. This song, this vocal clearly did not. There is no singer on planet Earth, except maybe a few, who can go out there and honestly give you an excellent vocal take without any post-production tuning on it. Like there just aren't singers who are that good at singing. So especially in this case, it's good, but you need to fine tune the key, like the notes, to make sure they are in key fully, and also to lower the amount of wavering between notes. And that's what your voice can tend to do naturally, especially when it's a little strained. And so you need to use something like Melodyne, or that's my personal choice, or a similar product, Antares Autotune or something like that, and learn how to use that. Because honestly, yeah, maybe there are some free automatic plugins that kind of do it, but you'll never get that great of a result. Like Melodyne, you can literally draw in the notes of the vocal, you can make it sound like a whole different vocal. It's pretty amazing. You can create harmonies that aren't there. You can duplicate it so that it plays different notes behind it, and you can create a fake chorus behind it. But anyway, I'm talking too long. I just clearly, I feel that this track would be so much better if you treated the vocal properly. And so, yeah, there are pieces where it just kind of loses the perfect key that it needs to be in. But anyway, those would be my main topics of focus for you. But overall, it's really good, and I think you're getting there, but you just maybe don't know or haven't had experience with some of these things that need to be done to vocals, especially. So, nice work. All right, we got TXCS Alive. Oh gosh, sorry, I am really sucking today with the windows and all this stuff I've got going on. All right, here we go. Wow. All right. That was an earful for sure. Really cool. Lots of really awesome sounds. The sound design is great. I think the concept is great. The vocals cool. Um, First thing is that everything is too compressed, and the in this super heavy dubstep kind of style, yes, you want things to be loud, you want them to be crazy and distorted and in your face, but this song is actually very straining on the ear to listen to, and it's because everything is so compressed that it's hard to it kind of is a challenge for the listener to know what to focus on, because everything is now the same volume. It's just a wall of sound, and while some people in some instances say a wall of sound is a good thing, in this instant I don't mean that positively. um, it's it's detracting from the quality of the production, because now you I don't know what to focus on. Like, even in the heaviest of dubstep genres, you usually have a lead like that is your focus, and then you've got other elements that are doing crazy things, but it's usually behind it. In this song, everything is the same volume, and it's just like, what is happening? And you just like, there's not a focal point. And then it causes the vocal, you can barely hear it throughout most of the song. I mean, there's just like a lot of things that you really need to decide, okay, what do I want the listener to listen to, and make those decisions. And then also, I don't know if you threw OTT on literally everything, or if you just threw a fat limiter on everything, but it's just, you need to give it a little room to breathe. It's just too compressed. You have to get the loudness that Excision or somebody like that gets. I would even maybe try not to make that your goal, because those guys are, firstly, not mixing it themselves, probably. If they are, they're an incredible mixer. They're usually outsourcing it, and outsourcing it to someone who has a full analog studio. And with an analog studio, you actually can go above the red. There's the difference between analog and digital audio is totally different. There are different rules, and you don't get the same kind of clipping that you do in digital audio. In digital, that you have to kind of work within the parameters that you have, and you pretty much are never gonna get the same loudness while maintaining dynamics that one can get in an analog real studio, and that's okay. But trying to set your goal as hitting the exact same peak levels and the exact same loudness and stuff as some of these guys at this point in your career probably isn't realistic. So first, I would focus on making it sound good rather than sounding as loud as possible or as compressed as possible. All right. So those would be my main tips. Kind of settle down on the crazy processing, and I think you're on the right track in terms of production. I think it's really cool. I think that'll be a lot better. Try and listen to some. That being said, still use reference tracks, but reference not necessarily the loudness, but the differences in loudness, and you'll notice not everything is the same volume. Not everything is so in your face. There are elements that balance out the mix, that make it easier to listen to. So check that out. Okay, we've got, actually, before I get into the next thing, I'm going to talk about something. So yesterday, 2 days ago, we launched our brand new Loopatomy membership, which we've been working on really hard. I'm really excited about it. I think it's really a game changer. Basically, we've replaced our old membership with our Loopatomy membership, and now there are 3 different levels. With the Superstar membership, you get, I don't know if you guys remember or if you know, but Loopatomy is our new desktop app that lets you really manage all of your audio resources in one place. You can get our plugins, you can get our sample packs, you can watch our audio courses, you can do all of that, download DAW templates. You even can import your samples from Cymatics or wherever the hell you get them. You can import them from your own samples, things you buy elsewhere, and manage them all in one place, which is pretty amazing. It also becomes a searchable database, so you can just, it's all automatically tagged, so you can search for what you need. But the new membership takes it to the next level, because now you get a certain number of sound downloads per month, sound slots, 800, 400, 200. As a Superstar member, you get access to all of our plugins, all of them, all the existing ones, all the ones that are coming out in the future, unlimited access as long as you're a member. You get licenses for those. You can also get access to all of our audio courses. There are hundreds of audio courses on our site. They're really video courses about audio, and you can learn different production tips, music business tips. We just put out one that's how to build like acoustic panels for your studio. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, and you also get DAW templates with each of your subscriptions. Plus, you get a discount if that's not enough products. You get a discount on all our products. So it's pretty amazing. I would try it out. If I were you guys, it's pretty cool. If you don't care about some of the stuff, we do have the Sounds Pro that is pretty much just the sounds and the DAW templates, a few of them. But it's pretty awesome, guys. So download Loopatomy. Even if you don't have a membership, you should download it. It's free. You can check it out. And that's really going to be the best place to get your products from us and everything. We're putting free products in there. And yeah. All right, guys. So now we've got ID by Gestaltified.
I'm trying to go harder than I ever went, dumber than the precedent, faster than the Rari. Yeah, I'm falling like I never spent money on the Tito, blow up like C4, trying to get it smothered like I'm talking about casinos.
All right. I really like that. That's really cool. Another heavy one for today. So yeah, I mean, the sound design's really awesome. I like the panning you did in that. Oh, just hit my microphone. Sorry. I like the panning that you did there. I think the sound design's cool. You had some really cool growls and stuff. In the drops, I think it gets a little messy in terms of the mix. It kind of slightly hurts my ears. And I think the reason is that you have too many elements that have high end. Typically, you only want to have a couple of elements that really have any high end at one time. Otherwise, that gets really harsh on your ears and kind of makes your ears numb and gives you that like hissing sound. So there's a few ways to combat that. Kind of decide, like I've said before, what your main elements should be and let those have the high end, and then kind of either give a low pass on the other elements, or at least a shelf there, and kind of take that out. I think you'll be surprised to notice that it won't make any difference in terms of not being able to hear the sound, but what it will make a difference in is the harshness of that feel. Another trick that was taught to me a while back is that de-essers can be used on more than just vocals. They're actually, in some instances, a pretty cool way to tame down the harshness of any instrument. Um, don't overuse it. Same as with a vocal, it can make your instrument sound like it has a lisp, I guess. But I would mess around with that. If there's an element that you want to tone down, but you don't want to completely remove the highs, that may be a good option to just kind of settle it down. You compress basically just that section, just that high mid part. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. Other than that, I mean, really just some mixed things. I think some things come in a little hot, a little too loud. Some things a little too quiet. But other than that, I think you're kind of and like you said in your description, I do think it needs some improved transitions, maybe some more ear candy in the fills and stuff like that. But overall, I think it's really good. Nice job. All right, next up. Oh, shoot. That's why you don't send in YouTube links. I didn't even realize it was a YouTube link. I started playing in the background. So whoever sent that YouTube link, sorry, but we will not be playing it because those cause problems with buffering and all sorts of reasons. All right, but we will be playing Kilo. What the heck? Sorry, some weird things going on today, but we got Kilo or Mugi, I guess. Did you change names? Night Clouds. Okay, sorry to skip around so much, but a 7.5 minute song. I can't spend 20% of our day on this song, but no complaints. That is for this kind of genre, 7.5 minute song. That's okay. That works. I'm being told, sorry, I'm distracted. People are telling me I'm too quiet. After this one, I will try to increase the volume of everything. Now that I don't know why people are saying that when we're almost done. I asked earlier and people said it was okay. So anyway, all right. But no, this song really good. I think it's great. I think that there are some mixed things I would improve. I think that there's some high-end stuff that gets a little harsh. I think your percussion loop could use a little bit of fine-tuning in terms of that. I think that initial kick is actually also a little harsh. I think that it could be, you could tone down on the highs a little bit. I know it's supposed to be like a thin kind of top kick kind of thing, but I think it's a little too much. It was hurting my ears a little bit. But as far as the song itself, the melodic elements are awesome. The ambience in the beginning is great. Everything sounds awesome. So, I mean, just work on really the mixing and the fine tuning of certain elements, and I think it's great. So nice job. I mean, it's always good quality stuff from you. All right. I am going to bring in this next one, and I'm also going to, I guess, increase the volume of everything. If you give me 1 second, everybody, before I start this one. There we go. Okay. So everybody, before I do this, turn down your headphones so I don't hurt your ears. I'm not going to put it up like crazy, but I am going to put it up a bit. So let's see, I think my voice should be louder now. Let's see how that does. We got Black Bear IDFC 10X remix.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake. Cause I don't fucking care at all. You've been out all night, I don't know where you've been. You're slurring all your words, not making any sense. But I don't fucking care at all. Cause I have hella feelings for you. I act like I don't fucking care, like they ain't even there. Cause I have hella feelings for you. I act like I don't fucking care, cause I'm so fucking scared. I'm only a fool for you, and maybe you're too good for me. I'm only a fool for you, but I don't fucking care at all. Look me in the face, tell me that you sense, but I don't fucking care. Feelings for you, I act like I don't fucking care. But maybe you're too good for me. I'm only a fool for you, but I don't fucking care.
All right, nice job. Production quality is pretty good. So I know this song is looks like already released 8 months ago, so I'm not going to tell you to go back and make changes. But here's something that you and most of you should just kind of take as, I don't like to say a rule, but some strong advice. This song has the chord progression just isn't long enough. You've got 4 chords, ba 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 ba, and it just plays that the entire freaking song, and that's not enough. It needs to be 8. It needs to be 16. It needs to be more interesting. No, that just gets so repetitive. And the part of the problem is that your drop and your verses are in the exact same chord progression, so that's all we hear the entire song. This is something that commonly beginner producers do because they don't realize I need to do more than that. It needs to be more interesting. Like it should be something like ba 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 ba. You know, like it needs to have a response. Right now, you're basically talking into the ether and nothing is responding to it. Like you need to have a second part that complements the first part. So that would be my first big thing, I would say. You need to have more interesting, longer chord progressions. There are very few great songs that are that simple. And basically, even though you do some, in the lead, the drop quality is great. Even though you do some stutter in the lead and stuff like that to change it up, it's still the exact same melody every 4 chords. So, it just gets very, very repetitive. And go listen to a Jonas Aiden song. Go listen to one of the people you've tagged in this description, and I guarantee you none of them will be just a 4-chord basic loop. So that's the biggest thing of this. It's the structure of your song, and you need to improve that and be a little bit more interesting. But as far as the quality goes, I mean, the production's pretty good. I think the drop is actually mixed quite well for the most part. I think while the airiness and the ambiance of the breakdowns is cool, I think when you're using pads like that, I almost like don't like to use pads for this reason, because they just create this. They have these long tails and just become hard to work with, and kind of you lose the structure and it's hard to follow when you've got these long tails. So it kind of becomes this little messy, muddy experience. So I would try and fine tune those pads and tail, reduce that tail, maybe add in a little bit of, percussion or something to keep the listener focused. Maybe even a little side chain just to kind of have some sort of groove, or maybe like a fundamental bass line that goes along with it to kind of keep the focus. But overall, I mean, you've got a lot of good elements. I think it's cool. I think, the vocal, I obviously this is a remix. I think, you obviously sped it up. That's not uncommon to do. I think this one's really sped up, and it kind of sounds a little Mickey Mousey to me. But it's cool. I like the idea. I think you're on the right track. It says it's your first Future House remix. So, I mean, that's pretty great. My first remix was a hell of a lot worse than that. But anyway, I think you got some things to work on and just things to keep in mind. You'll get a lot better. Just keep making more music. All right, guys, I am going to call it a day there. It's been our hour. Sorry if I didn't get to your track, but I'll try and get to it next time. I will keep you all in the loop about any changes that we're going to be making. We may be switching up the day. We may be switching up the time. We may be adding, some live sessions or some other elements. I might bring on guests. I don't know. I'm kind of trying some things out, but I appreciate those of you who provided feedback. We're not going to get rid of track feedback, I promise. It's something that I think is a good value for our customers and fans, so we're going to definitely keep doing it. It just might kind of change the way we do it or whatever. We're constantly trying to improve, and we don't want to just keep stagnant, and we always got to keep getting better. So anyway, thanks guys. I think you did a great job today. The music was awesome, and I am very much looking forward to being back with you next time. And please keep an eye on our Discord and on our social media, and I'll post any changes on both. So this is Josh from WA Production. I am going to sign out. Thanks a lot. Have a fun, great rest of your day.